awesome, great, glorious day it is. This is the day the Lord has made, and indeed we shall rejoice and be glad in it. Ladies and gentlemen, today I won't read a bio because I have very special friends of mine, special friends to Umubanga. Known them. It's been a while. It's been a long time. I'm joined by the duo of Shalom and Shalom, Mr. and Mrs. Kaseketi.
Let's go.
Hey.
What's up, man?
What's good?
Yeah,
How are you?
Yeah. Day at a time, doing the most one day at a time now. Yeah.
Better than we've ever been.
Yeah. Awesome.
We're married.
Yeah. Married. 1
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
I know.
Coming up. It's been
Awesome.
Oh yeah. 1 year.
How has been the 1 year? Like,
Wow. I don't
Yeah.
think it's been anything that we expected.
Yeah.
Not in a negative sense, but
Yeah.
we were laughing with our younger brother who's getting married in 2 months that
Yeah.
guys, go for premarital counseling
Yeah.
because you don't know what you're going to get tested on 1st, whether this will hit you first or
Yeah.
this area of life will hit you first.
True.
So it's been phenomenal.
It's been a faith journey too,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
one that I think has been very impactful in the sense that we've created like a very deep relationship of friendship. So it's just been like, you're hanging out with your friend, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just your friend, you're going places together, you're experiencing things together. When you're in the US, you're just like, boy, you know what I'm saying? Look at that, you know what I'm saying?
water.
Water. So let me just tell a funny story. Mr. K one day, when it comes to bougie things, so we went somewhere really fancy, and there was a
exactly.
bottle of hand wash, or was it hand wash? And there's a bottle of hand lotion. Now, I didn't know the difference, because they both looked so similar and so nice. So he was in another part of the room, and so I was trying to wash my hands, and I pressed down. And I started to rub my hands together and it wasn't foaming up. So I told him, I said, yeah, babe, at fish just funny moments where you just kind of like experience embarrassed moments
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
like that. And so I ended up using the hand lotion and then instead of the hand
But
soap.
is a certain bouginess affiliated to, you know what I'm saying? It's just,
But getting to experience things like that together
Yeah.
with your friend is just, it's amazing.
yeah.
Awesome. Now, I have known you guys for like the longest.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2017, hey?
It was 2017 or 2016?
Even I think
17.
it's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
And no, I think from the time I knew you guys, you were in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, your story has how long did you date for? Like
8 years by the time we're getting married. Yeah.
Yeah, this Friday will
you guys
be
even did a doctorate with a master's.
That-
on the
Listen.
top.
Yeah.
medical degree
Yeah.
and specialization.
You gotta stay, brother. The long haul.
For people watching this and those who are not preview to like your story, your journey of meeting, let's start from there so that we understand. Because look,
Yeah.
as you elaborated in the first instances, it's a journey of friendship. You
Yeah.
being with your friend, having known your friend for a long time. So yeah, the journey of how. Well, as a hashtag, the journey. So,
Meeting the journey. Yeah. No. There are two different versions of this story.
of course,
But I would say mine.
okay.
And I'll pretty much summarize it. I think we met in camp, in a youth camp at a church youth camp. And so a bunch of us were hanging out together. And then one time, because I played keys, right? I was getting out of my probational period. By that I just mean that I spent 3 years out of dating. So I was not dating for like 3 years. I said no. I ain't doing that kind of junk. Oh, not that kind of stuff. Sorry. I wasn't doing that type of stuff because I needed to grow up as a man, but also deepen my relationship with God. So I had asked God, I came across something that was said to say that whenever you're going to be praying, be specific. So I asked God, I said, Lord, I want somebody who's a model, somebody who's just, vibing. And when everybody looks at me with her, they'll be like, yeah. And somebody came across, unfortunately, God asked me to ask her a few questions, and the questions I asked were like, "Hey, what are you trying to do with your life, and what's going on?" But it was very shallow in a sense, and that was a pointer for me. To like, you know what, you asked for what you wanted, and I said, "I'm sorry, Lord, because I asked for what I wanted, not what I needed." So God gave me what I wanted. Just to prove a point that I didn't need it. And so I just said a prayer. I said, Lord, I'm asking for somebody like me, but the opposite of me. So fast forward to camp. We're in camp. This girl, there were 3 girls, I think. 3 or 2?
2.
2 girls came to the keyboard and were like, hey, I want you to play this song for us. I was like, yeah, sure. So now I was in search mode. I mean, I was just like, okay, maybe, So I looked at the first one, but she was too hype, and that happened to be her cousin. So I was like, no, Lord, no. And I looked at her, and she's like, very chill, So after I played her the song, I went to the boys and I said, guys, I found my wife. I didn't even know her name at the time. I just knew that that's the wife.
Yeah.
That's how I saw her.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. Because there was a lot.
Now, funny story for how we actually knew each other's names in that same camp. It was in Siavonga, 2014. So if you've ever been to a youth camp, you know that you're not like in the sessions throughout. You have like lunch breaks and all of that. So during lunch break, I was walking to the room, the girls' living area. And there was a group of people that were just kind of standing around somewhere. So I talked to them for a bit and I started to walk towards the room. Then I hear someone shout, Shalom. So I turned back around and I'm like, I go back. I was like, what's up? You were calling me. And they're like, no, we were calling Shalom him. And so he's like, yeah, I'm Shalom. So I was like, this is just a funny guy. He's probably just making it up. That's not even his name. Only to find out that it really was his name. That's how I knew that his name was Shalom. And that's how he knew that my name was Shalom.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He was just added extra. For me, it was just like, it's that splat, what I'm saying? By God. It's just like,
Like giving you a double portion of peace.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Okay. Interesting journey. And so through that, like that phase, I do understand you guys. First of all, your families, both families are well rooted in the Christian.
Yeah.
Both of you are PKs. So
True. Yeah, that's
True. Proudly.
So that dynamic, understanding that, remember growing up in a pastor's household, you are bound to certain rules and regulations. Like if you are to date, you have to inform the parents to say, hey, this is what's happening. This is where we're going. How did you navigate that? And even as I asked that, you as well had mentors around you, people covering you, watching over you.
Right.
How was that process? Because look, we're in a space and time where accountability is people deep. Oh, taking you to my mentor. Like, do we do that? Like,
Cringe.
You go ahead, babe.
Yeah, so I'll speak for myself. I came from a very non-traditional PK home. So I love to tell this story because I think it redefines a lot of things. I wasn't raised, and I confidently say I wasn't raised by a bishop. I was raised by a dad and a man who loved Jesus. Right. And so our parents did a really good job not making us feel like the pastor and his wife were the ones raising us. It was just them, their relationship with God, with their relationship with each other, and then us as their kids and pouring into us from that place. So even when it came to ministry, that was just like external. So in the home, we were kids being raised by 2 children of God. So even all of the expectations of telling your parents this and this and that, the church, I really didn't feel that weight and pressure, especially from my parents. And so, of course, it's not like you just go about unconsciously doing stuff. You are in the spotlight to some degree, but because they brought us up to love God and to pursue doing good just because of our love for God. So even in walking in a relationship with Shalom, it wasn't about how are they going to see me. Right. It was more about how am I pleasing my Father. So even when things went wrong, it was like, God, I'm sorry. Not, oh, the world, church, I'm sorry, you know? So that's my side of the story. Okay. Yeah.
And for me, I mean, I think I was already in my independence type thing. So most of who I was surrounded by was a mentor, and Pastor Walu.
Yes.
And so I told him, I was like, listen, I got an eye for somebody. You know what I'm saying? But and I think that covered me. But even when I was pursuing her, it wasn't from a place of trying to prove anything more than it was trying to be the best person that I can be to her. And so what I realized is that even in our relationship, in the beginning of it, whether it was the first 3 months when I was rejected and I was told sat, and I was waiting, but I was still present. It was more of what can we do what we are doing? Like, how's that going to be? Like, how can we have fun? How can we do that together? So it was building friendship, and it was more friendship oriented to the glory of God rather than like, man, my people knew, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it wasn't the pressure of like, yeah, but you are a pastor, a child of God. You know what I'm saying? You know, like that kind of thing. And so I wasn't overly conscious of sin.
Yes.
Because that wasn't in the picture more than what I was focused on, the fact that I found a wife and that's all I need. And so, and we're going to pursue that together.
Yeah.
We taught photography, hang out with youth events, like went to all the overnights together, like, riled up a bunch of young people and like did a lot of fun things. So there was no room for like any other thing other than what we were building.
Yeah.
So no pressure at all, but pressure.
Yeah, with that, I can't say I was also maybe like the type who you just like tell your parents like, I have a boyfriend and we're going on a date. No, it really took a while for us to come to that place. But we did have, I like to say that your relationship can be private, but it shouldn't be a secret.
Yes.
So privacy is okay. Maybe if parents aren't comfortable with social media, which was one of my things.
Yeah.
I think when we were dating, there was a stage when my parents did express they weren't very comfortable with us being on public social media.
Yeah.
And so we honored them in that way. Was it hard? Yes. Because, you want to like post, you want to say what's going on, But it ended up doing more for us. And because of honoring them, we benefited the fruit of that.
Yeah.
But we made sure that while the public world didn't know on Facebook and Instagram, we still had mentors who are holding us accountable, who you could check in with when things weren't going okay and stuff like that.
And even living freely allows the parents to just be like, oh, okay, so who's this guy? You give them room to kind of view you. Yeah. But imagine I was running all the time, like I was just trying to hide. And of course, the circles that we're in were more like church circles. Yeah. And so I wasn't trying to run or hide from the parents, or she wasn't trying to hide and run from, my people. Yeah. I think it's just the purity of the fact that we're doing life and we're doing life together and show up for I went for their Bible studies, and my Bible study was somewhere else.
Group.
You know what I'm saying? And the parents are there, and they get to see you.
Yeah.
So I think it's really about what's the real motive?
Yeah.
Because if it's a wrong motive, it will be seen. I mean, parents will catch it immediately. So
yeah.
Okay. You're in this journey because I know you see how hard it's always.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, most of the guests I've had, it's my first time meeting them. I don't know them. You guys. Visions, dreams, aspiration, because yes, you're one, but you're two separate individuals. How have you been able to navigate that? Because you have this dream you want to lead, you have this dream you want to pursue, and knowing for a fact that there was a period you had traveled to go do school,
right?
You're here, handling the business. How has it been How was it like, and how has it been now, 1 year in?
It's been great. Challenging for some parts, primarily because, are we talking about the year or the journey of it?
The journey. And then now, because back then you were just
right
in the courting phase.
Yeah.
But now...
Yeah,
you have to run things. There's nothing like I will do this and then just inform you.
There's higher accountability.
Yeah. No, it was challenging as it was amazing. And I say this because for a man, you obviously like make your intentions known, and my intention was clear from the get go. I was like, listen, me, Nichikwati, you know what I'm saying? But I recognized that she was on a path, and Mrs. K has traveled to the US, gone for school, and I remember at some point I even got depressed. I remember that time when I got so ill to the point that my mom was like, listen, hey, it's just 4 years. You know, it's just 4 years. You can resume. There, I was like sat, but we kept comms. It became so a part of me, not obsessive, but it became so a part of me because I knew what I needed, like what we were trying to achieve. And I needed her to know that I will be there all the time. It doesn't matter what, you know what I'm saying? So I was in the US, but I was in Zambia, you know what I'm saying? And so it was challenging because at that point we had to like figure out how to carry and support her vision, even as I am doing mine. But at the same time, recognizing that there's a common goal, and that was marriage. For me, it was more than just like, oh, let's date and let's try to figure out if long as this doesn't work, then it's fine. No, it's going to work. But where are we? What are we doing? How can we make it happen? How can I support you in your exams? If you're having exams, how can you support me in terms of work? So that was then. And I think we really we hit some hard points because we got to a point where we had to almost break up, like literally. And our mentors at the time, the Paswani juniors, realized something. They were like, guys, you guys are in a long haul relationship, meaning you're growing together. And guess what? You're going to experience a lot of transitions. And if you don't understand those transitions, that will mess you up. So it got that, I was like, oh, so the only reason we're having some bunch of issues is because we just didn't know we're transitioning. Because one time she's like in exam season and we're not talking as often. And the next time I'm free. And then the next time and I'm busy. You know what I'm saying? I'm busy. And then like, oh snap, like things have flipped. There's been transitions happening. So that was the difference at the time. But now we have a common goal again. We both value family a lot. So it's God, family, business. And business can be two different things. So her career and my career and stuff like that. So we value God. We'll put him at the center of everything. Family is a big deal. So that is like at our core of everything that we get to do. And so even with the business, which is the third thing, it really highlights the elements of family. So I think that part she'll share her vision for it, but like there's like goals that she wants to do. Do you want me to share it?
Not quite.
No. Okay, so there's some things that she wants to do related to family. I want to do business that is related to family. You know what I'm saying? So it builds, it works around that. So we get to just like meet somewhere. The main thing remains the main thing at all times, and then we navigate the differences.
And I think really values, and I love that you talked about values, babe, because I think the values have influenced even the pursuit and the timing of our goals. Because I think sometimes we have these goals and by this time I want to do this and this and that. But what the values have helped us to do is to filter, like, okay, this is what we want to do. So what matters the most to us? And does that maybe have to shift right now? So like when we got married last August, and I think we kind of had the mindset that I would finish off my prereqs for nursing school, get started in January, and we would be on the road, and he would get started as well with that. And, you have all of these goals, right? And then as the semester unfolds, like my health pretty much like goes downhill. And of course I'll get to share more of that, but I end up, they end up discovering something. Just a few weeks ago, I had surgery. But in that moment, it's like, yes, there is this goal for all of this, but the value of rest and well-being says, you know what, let me take a semester off of school so that I'm in a better state even to experience school. You know what I mean? The value of family says, look, if God is calling us to be back home with family in this season, then let's do our best to spend time with them and be intentional about that. So I think what we value has been influencing the timing of our goals, or maybe how much effort we're able to put in at every season. So I think it's helped us to be patient with each other as well. And it's amazing. I think just trusting God a lot. For me, I remember at some point I was saying, God, I can't see how you're going to bring
True.
Shalom and I's journeys together. Like, you're out here, like, calling me to the US. His heart for Africa and Zambia is out of this world. And I was like, how can I take your son, who
There's no
loves
place
this
like
continent
home,
so much, away for a certain
Yeah.
season? And I really struggled to figure out how God would bring it all together. But we just had to keep going. Sometimes you just have to keep going. And the story got clearer and clearer.
Yeah.
He got an opportunity to come in 2022. And then now he's, going to be doing his bachelor's and MBA, at Liberty to be able to fuel more of the business project. So it's been amazing how the story is just unfolding.
Yeah.
But trusting God is a big part of it because we can't see the whole thing from where we are
True.
right now. Yeah.
Talking on trusting in God, because you're two different people. Super opinionated because both of you are super opinionated.
Wait.
How did you manage? Yes, there's that mentorship aspect. You have people around you.
Yeah.
But how quickly were you able to resolve your differences? The many differences. I remember there was one instance.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
What happened?
It was in the studio.
Oh.
I
remember.
Was it the
You
day you
were
had an
the-
exam?
Is it? Were you from Zikas or something? And then you came early, and then she joined in. She came through later.
Yeah, there was a time when you walked. The time we met at Easter.
That was the time you had an exam. Remember that
Yes.
math exam that you had?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she comes through, and then I'm like, oh, these people not.
They're not okay.
And the thing is,
Umubanga,
we're
you
so
don't
close
forget,
that you
bro.
just like we're so close that you knew that we weren't fine.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Can't remember what happened, but then there's like that disagreement. Like, so in like now being married 1 year now, because these are different times, right? Like back then it would be like, if you argue, you just be like, you know what? I've gone home.
Yeah,
But now you argue,
you're not going home.
still stay
You ain't
together.
going nowhere.
You're still home. You're still here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how did you handle disagreements then, and now how do you handle them now? Because yes, marriage is beautiful, and soon I'll be joining.
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting to see this happen, getting to see people be in love for the longest time. Now this is like 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you navigate that?
Wow. So when we were dating, I really grew a lot emotionally. In our dating season, I think Mr. K Shalom has always been like the stronger emotional pillar for us in terms of just stability, which has really helped me a lot, because I think it's for a lady with security and safety being such a big thing, it's nice to not have a guy who will try to run away or go under the shell as soon as something goes wrong.
Yep.
But to know that even when I'm like kicking and throwing tantrums, he's like solid and he's there. So I'll definitely just commend him for that. Handling issues for us, I think one of the things we did for sure was we never like closed a day off being upset with each other. It just, issues just never dragged with us. Even if something was wrong, I think we'll just find a way to meet. Like if it takes all day, we're going to like land on a solution and talk it through.
Yeah.
So I can't point to specifics, but I know one principle we did follow was just the don't go to bed on your anger thing.
Yeah.
Being a married couple, I guess when we were single, people were like, hey, you will argue and you won't be able to go your separate ways. But I actually have loved that because then there's no option to run and we are with each other. So it means, you know what? I might just take a moment, but we can come right back and talk through something.
Yeah.
Balancing has helped with conflict resolution so far from my end in marriage.
Yeah.
Dr. Walu shared something from psychology with us, which was a really good principle. It's called the PAC, P-A-C. So P is for parent, A is for adult, and C is for child. So essentially in disagreements, there's usually someone
Yeah.
acting like a parent,
Yeah.
someone acting like an adult, or someone acting like a child. So if your friend is handling things like an adult, you just also be an adult and meet them there because you're reasoning properly.
Right.
But if your friend is acting like the child, then you kind of have to step up as a
parent.
good parent in
Yeah.
that moment. And if your friend's acting like the parent, you can't have two parents trying to argue with each other. No one will win.
Yeah.
You kind of have to humble yourself and kind of become the child.
Yeah.
So I think that has really helped a lot. So if
Yeah.
I feel like he's really emotionally charged, I could try to blast with emotions. I could,
Yeah.
but sometimes just coming and saying, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
And just like bringing it down, really like Proverbs, I think 15:1, a
Yeah.
gentle answer turns away wrath,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a harsh word stirs up anger. So being very conscious of where my friend is at
Yeah.
and what will help the most. The flesh sometimes wants to do the same thing, but I think after many conflicts, you realize we are going to land in the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just kind of learn to do better. So that's helped me,
Yeah.
just balancing.
Yeah. Pursuing the person. I think one of the things that I learned during our dating is that, look, if we're not going to pursue one another, it's not going to work. Like I can't expect I can't expect, her to be upset and then I'll be like, also I bounce, you know what I'm saying? Like we have to pursue one another. Even in marriage, really, it's looked that way. Because at the end of the day, we're not enemies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's been the critical reminder for me. That's not my enemy. Something just happened and it wasn't right, but she's not my enemy.
Yeah.
And it's very important because I think that's been like something that redefines the person, because it's easy to see the mistake as the person.
Yeah.
But those are two different things, even when there's a disagreement. And so it's looked different like that because it has to be like, am I pursuing my friend or am I having an argument with my enemy? And when that always is not the case and it's redefined rather, it helps the conversation.
Yeah.
Because then you'd be like, okay, you know what? I messed up. And you listen more. And it's really like, do you want to have peace or do you want to be right?
Yeah.
Now, if you want to be right, everyone can go back and forth and you win an argument, but you leave like hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you want peace, it doesn't mean that you shut down the things that need to be dealt with.
Yeah.
I think in the moment of high emotions, like she says, being more observant and being at a place where you realize this is my person, this is my friend. First of all, you hear and listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
And then after some time, if you must bring the conversation back again, you bring it in a way that's more, hey, listen, you're my person, you're my friend. This didn't happen well, this didn't happen well. You would have had peace and maybe even be right. But ultimately, you want to have peace all the time if you can. So pursuing your person is really critical because that's your person, not your enemy.
Yeah.
Awesome. In saying that, so
Yeah.
what routines now have you like developed, like traditions, like things which you like consistent, like over and over? Like, do you have like date nights? Or,
Yes.
like- yeah. So what do you?
Excuse me. Yeah. No, we eat. We eat. We've tried to put in the date night situation.
Yes, weekly.
Weekly.
The last couple of weeks, I think it's just after surgery
Yeah.
and not being able to move like that.
Yeah.
But date night, like once a week,
Yeah.
we have made sure. We've actually tried to. We realized something
Yeah.
when we did date night further into the week, like Friday, Saturday. We were so emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
So we found ourselves like putting out fires.
Yeah.
And so we're like, I think it's better for us to do date night earlier in the week when we're still a little bit emotionally full, so that we're not just like fixing, right? So I think of it like a general doctor's checkup versus you've broken your leg and he needs to fix something type
Yeah.
checkup. So doing date nights for us
Yeah.
between Monday and Wednesday has
Yeah.
worked out really well.
Yeah.
Because then our tanks are not on E and we're at least somewhere
Yeah.
and able to just feel better.
And then sometimes we have random no phone moments where
Yes.
we just like check in, like, hey, so let's talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, because especially when you're in the season of rest, when things, are not as busy and stuff like that, it's pretty easy to just get dragged with the internet and stuff like that. Whether all for good reasons or whatever. But There's moments where we're just like, you know what, like, hey, just random fun moments.
Yeah.
Mostly in the evenings,
Yeah.
preferably, because then like we get to connect. Like, hey, so what's your favorite part of the day? Ask questions that get to know one another. And
Yeah.
sometimes we don't pull up like questions like how like
Yes.
just good questions.
We love those Google
Yeah.
questions. Just
Yeah.
search up like romantic questions to ask each
Yeah.
other or questions for couples. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's amazing because you
Yeah.
get to learn the person even more, and I think that's the other part, because it helps. You know, the conflict resolution helps when you know your person more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine tawishi wa muntu and then you're trying to resolve issues.
It's like somebody's upset and then you're just like, oh, just need a chocolate.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like
so-
today we were coming and I was looking at my man and I was like, I think he's hungry, but I'm gonna ask. So I was like,
Yeah.
how are you doing? Where are you at? And he was like, I'm hungry. And I was like,
Yeah. No.
so,
for
but
real.
I have to talk about the hugs and kisses as well.
Yeah.
If you're married, especially. So there's a 6-second and 20-second thing.
Yeah.
So a couple, when they kiss for at least 6 seconds, there's a certain hormone that's released in the body
Yeah.
that it's a happy hormone.
Yeah.
And then when you hug for at least 20 seconds, there's also the happy hormone that's released. And it's really, really good for staying in good health.
Yeah.
So not like just like a quick hug sometimes, like
Yeah.
just like stay. Like
Yeah.
we would even put a timer sometimes. Just put a timer,
True.
hug, and we would even lose track
like
of that.
the equalizer,
It will be
man.
Equalizer's
beeping.
yeah.
It'll be beeping and
Yeah.
we're like, not yet. But actually do the
That's really
20-second minimum hugs
Yeah.
and also the 6-second kisses at least.
And we also
Yeah.
do that. So we realize that after doing so many things, like
Yeah.
where it's been long days,
Yeah.
we realize that, you know, when you hug your person, it's like, oh my goodness, like I missed hugging you.
Yes.
Not necessarily like but like just really miss your person.
Yeah.
We then made it a point to say, you know what, if we can, at the beginning of the day, we must hug. And at the end of the day, when we come home, you know,
Yes.
from work, from all the hustles and everything, the first thing we are doing, we drop our bags and we're hugging.
Yes.
We're not talking, we're not doing all of like, you know,
Yeah.
let's get dinner ready. No.
Yeah.
That's really helped. Because then like you rest in your person.
Yes.
You know what I'm
yes,
saying? So
yeah.
that's
And the
beautiful.
3, 5, 10. Sorry, we have like so many things. I just realized.
You see,
we've
these
been
are
doing
the
all these things.
routines and
Dude, yeah.
traditions created, yeah?
Right. So the 3, 5, 10 helped us a lot, especially when we just came to Z, because we were so busy, like with the business, updating profiles, trying to meet potential clients. Like
Yeah.
we were really busy,
Yeah.
but we would have short moments maybe where we're at home.
Yeah.
So what we would essentially do is just say 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on how much time we had, of doing absolutely nothing. And we'll just lay on the bed. I'll be on his shoulder or chest or whatever. The time I will be going, just complete quiet, not even how's the day going, whatever. And it's amazing how
It's harder than you think
yeah,
in the beginning.
because
know.
you want to talk and you want to
And you want
like
to think.
you want to think. But just laying there would
Yeah.
just recharge us in a way that I can't explain. So that really helped us a lot.
Awesome. So this as well speaks to mental well-being,
Yeah.
like making sure that you are sane.
Yes, by all means. And if you can, you know, the thing that what's sad in the current state of in our generation currently, which is becoming an unfortunate trend, is the fact that it's more the vulnerability is not sold. It's more sold as a point of weakness rather than a point of strength. And that trend is more in the relationship, and they are calling it toxic. You know, when a man tells you how weak he's feeling, or like how, you know, how like he's just so vulnerable when he cries, then it's a toxic, like it's a red flag. Listen, you need that man to cry if you can.
Yeah.
And I can't ever emphasize this. Like, if people who are in a relationship, for the ladies, if you can get, it shouldn't be a bragging point that you made your man cry for the wrong reasons. But if you can get the man to be so safe with you that he will share a tear, like he will shed a tear because he's really having a hard time, or he needs to vent. You will have that man's loyalty for a long time. And it's really something that it doesn't take, you know, you don't do that by buying gifts for the man or whatever. It's really about like creating a safety for the person to know that you are there, and you're not getting their weaknesses or their just their weaknesses and vulnerability and exposing it, or just taking it for granted, or where you ask the person, how are you doing? You talk for 70 hours and then you ask, and he responds for a minute and immediately you just switch into, no. Like actually allow him to speak and listen and be active. Because it's different. He starts speaking, then you get on the phone. You know what I mean? Like it disrupts things, you know what I'm saying? But when you get the man to know that you're actually present and listening, the mental well-being is so powerful, and you have your loyalty and your deep love. So,
That's
mental well-being.
Yeah, two of our friends are medical students, and they just got out of their psychiatry rotation, and they were telling us about how they were doing it at Chinama, and they were saying, guys, this can happen to actually anybody. And they're like, it's not even just about people that maybe run wild and are just on the streets. They were like, it's crazy how we have PhD holders that are actually admitted in psychiatry. And they were just saying to us, like, mental health issues are real, and a lot of the times when you talk to these people, you realize that they weren't talking about things that went wrong when they had an opportunity to. And because it's stacked up so much, it's now gotten them to where they are. So it's really true what you're talking about. And for ladies who it's just easier for us to talk, it needs to become an intentional thing to actually really listen. I think we do it sometimes when we notice we both are feeling like heavily burdened to share. We do you have the bottle, so we'll get a random water bottle, and as long as the bottle is on his side, my mouth doesn't open. He shares all he wants to say. If I have questions, I keep them until he's done. Once he moves the bottle to my side, I share all I want to say. He can't interrupt. He can't ask a question. He can't interject. And that's really helped us to just train our listening muscle.
Active listening. So the whole communication 101. Like properly communicating, because we're in a time and season where, because of the misunderstanding of what we call it dating. So people would like try out this person. If it doesn't work, there's an opportunity to leave. Then we now get to see it as well. That's why we have a lot of divorce cases, because somebody's like, I have an option. I can go find better. Of course, that better sometimes gets to be worse. So okay, interesting. You mentioned surgery. Health, like of late, because I've been exposed to different things, and then sometimes there's always that like death lingers, like what will happen? It's like, why is my person sick? Like what's happening? How can I help? I don't know who wants to take it, but how has it been? And you talking about your journey in surgery, you're here now. We were supposed to record this like 3 weeks ago. Yes. So
I'll have to like rewind, because last October, actually really at the beginning of our marriage, I think our marriage kind of started with a minor surgery, but this time it was him. So, and then a few months later, I got COVID, and newlyweds, and we're literally having to sleep in 2 separate rooms in our apartment. I was in the bedroom and he was in the living room, just so he didn't get COVID. And one of our friends says, guys, in sickness and in health, it's a wango. It's just, I think navigating health swings in marriage, I think one thing for sure is that it's really redefined a lot of the things that we thought marriage was all about, for us. And I'll be really like straightforward and say that it had to affect our sex life, even temporarily, because they're just certain things that when they're done to your body, you can't do the normal things, And so I think in a world where and especially when you're courting and purity is a thing and temptations to compromise sexually are so high, you're like, this is probably what marriage is all about after all, But I think we've really gotten to see how marriage really is so much more than
Yeah.
sex.
Yeah.
Just because of the health things that we've gotten to face.
Right.
At the beginning of the year, when they did the ultrasound and, found the thing, the gynecologist told us about surgery. I think we were like, no way, at the time. Months went by, but I think God eventually settled our hearts to say, you know what, this is the way that this is going to go, and everything is going to be okay. And really, I think I told Mr. K, I feel like I came face to face with death.
Yeah.
But I felt the scripture of, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, it's so dark. I was like, dude, they're gonna inject my spine. And that's literally how it went. I thought they would give me general anesthesia. And I heard that one is easier because they just give you a mask before you know it, you're knocked out. And all the myths about, spinal injections. And it didn't help that the anesthesiologist at the hospital, missed twice. So he injected me twice before he did it the third time when it finally worked. And I'm there and I'm like, what is going on?
Don't provoke me to anger.
So just all these experiences and, I've never not felt my legs before. I was like, whoa, I can't feel anything down there, Surgery was going on, but God really carried me through that.
Yeah.
My pulse hit 135 beats per minute. My heart was going faster than it's ever gone. And the guy was like, are you seeing your heart rate? And I'm looking at the meter, beep, beep. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's too fast.
And you're in the medical space.
In the medical space, right?
What's
So
happening?
I had to take deep breaths. They gave me an oxygen mask just to help my breathing. But the doctor got it done, I think within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
He was done and started to close it back up. I could feel the pressure from the stitches. I think when he was pulling, not the pain, just the pressure. And I think getting to the other side of that, the guy, the theater nurse called my husband. He got to come in, saw me, saw the thing they removed. And it was just really a period of rejoicing for us. And we feel like it was not just physical deliverance, but it also felt like a spiritual, procedure had taken place because we really saw the impact of how your health can really just bring you down, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. And I just felt so free, even post-surgery. I think when people ask me how was that? And I was like, guys, the joy of knowing that I don't have to go through that anymore, far outweighs the whole process, that surgery was, or the injections, or the cannulas, or the blood, just all of it. I'm like, guys, I'm free. It was so worth it. And Shalom was the most supportive husband. It wasn't easy for him to just hold it down as our leader. My hemoglobin levels were low. They were at 8 the day the doctor was operating. And normal is 12, hey? So they were quite low. And family was like, no, is he still going to operate? It's too low. I think they were so afraid, you're going to kill our daughter. But Mr. K was just like, this is what the Lord has said. And so it was hard for him to, it's the biggest thing that's happened for us as a married couple. And I think you really see how nervous the parents, the aunties are. One auntie called and she's like, I'm coming to get you guys. We're going to go to another hospital. This is the morning of surgery, but the emotions were high. But God brought us out of it. And I think they even got to honor him more because of his faith for my health in this season. So thank you, Papa.
No, you're welcome, baby. It's been, I think it, like she said, it hits different because the health part is your servitude to your person is tested. Service is redefined at the highest level. So one moment you're all lovey-dovey is kind of happening, and then your person gets sick, and you realize all questions, all things come into play, all scenarios. There could be the worst case scenario is death, but before you get there, what happens? And so I think even when I would be sick or she would be sick, it was more of how can I serve my person better to at least meet them and help them and cover them and protect them. You're really looking out for your person more and more. And I think also one of the things that tested us in those seasons of health, processes is our faith. Who we believe in. It's very easy to run to any other person when your person is sick. But when you have a relationship with God, you run to Him and you speak the word of God over your partner, because it matters more at that point that they live according to the word of God than anything, even as you're doing your health stuff. So I remember I got sick for like this day. I was okay I was starting to feel sick around 10, and then by 12 it became worse. By 15 it was worse. In the night it was so bad that subconsciously I was speaking tongues and speaking the word, and my wife was praying and speaking the word and called for mom, and became a thing like, we need to rush this guy to the hospital.
His
Like,
temperature was at 39
yeah,
at that point.
it was so bad that we got to the hospital. Like, it was, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was, all I could hear from my wife wasn't, no, like, we have to get you medication. No, I was hearing the word of God. Like, I was hearing the prayers, and I was hearing her encouraging. I was hearing her speak life. So I think it really tests your faith, but at the same time, like, being served. And she served me really well in that season, when it was just like, like, oh, you're about to die, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think they admitted you from 21 until like 02, right?
Yeah.
The next morning.
Yeah.
We got home, then your temperature went up again, and I think I was like channeling you until 5,
and I didn't
like,
even
temperature dropped again.
So yeah, it gets real.
Yeah.
But I think really, one, you really need to learn and be willing to serve your partner. But secondly, you really need to put your faith forward. Man can't necessarily sort out a lot of things, but God can. And so speak life, speak the word. In times of sickness, seek help. It's important. And seek the best help, and ask God for guidance to do it, because it's, you can go to the wrong people. Please don't go to a witch doctor. Please don't. Just seek God, and seek the best professional help that you can. And as you do that, serve your partner well, even after they are done being sick. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's one thing you admire about him? What's one thing you admire about her?
Yeah. So one thing that I admire about her, among many other things, that I would. Okay. I admire her relationship with God.
Yeah.
It's not cliche. Guys, you don't understand. Do you know how many issues are going on around the world? But to find a person that actually has a relationship with God to the point that she will pursue she's doing a year's Bible reading, like Bible reading for the whole year, and reading the Bible, you know what I'm saying, the whole book. And man, that has inspired me, because she has been consistent to do it. Placed God at the center of everything. When I have failed in doubt and stuff like that, like she would like, you know what? Like, God has got it. Even when I have, when I lack faith, my wife is the one that is like, no, we're going to get it. For the things that, you know what I'm saying? And just to be clear, I think I tend to be very daunting on faith. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you tell me this can't be done, I would do the same thing. I'll be like, it can be done. But where there's a gap, she has stood and she has spoken, like she has literally placed a demand on God for the things that matter. Awesome. And I think for a wife, for me, that's like a win, a huge win. In this life, marry well, guys. Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
One of the things I admire a lot about Shalom is his courage to really represent godly manhood. I don't have any sisters, so I have some type of idea how men are wired, and what it can be like to really rise above societal expectations and generalizations. And I think the culture really sometimes glorifies the egotistical, very, kind of sometimes arrogant or pompous man who doesn't cry, who doesn't express his emotions, who doesn't tell his brothers that he loves them, who just gets the job done. Yeah. And while my husband can do all of those things, I really do appreciate the fact that he really allows God to represent himself and Jesus really well. And so he's not afraid to serve me and to show others that he's serving me. He's not afraid to express how he feels to people, celebrate them, be affectionate. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to tell a brother how much he means to him. And I think you can relate, Umubanga, because you've been on a journey together, you know. And I think that has also put him in a position to be trusted by a lot of his guy friends, even in their moments of vulnerability, because they know that he's not going to expose them or make them feel like, boy, you don't go but he will say, look, I know it's really rough, and he will encourage and reassure and point them back to the Lord. So for me, that really has ministered to me. I really admire that about you, Pops. And thank you for just having the courage. We went for a birthday party for a friend who turned 33 recently. And after he gave his speech, he told him that he loved him. And someone actually said, one of the ladies said, I've never heard a man tell another man that he loves him, you know. And this is somebody who's also in their 30s. Yeah. And so you would think that, I mean, it's young, but it's old enough that they've experienced life in many ways. To not have been exposed to that really says a lot. And I think I'm always encouraging him to remain true to the DNA that the Lord has given to him, because it's helping and liberating so many people. So that's one of the many things I really admire about my husband.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Awesome. When is the podcast coming back?
Well,
this month.
As our friend would say, this month.
We've scripted.
If
that says anything, at least. Yeah.
We are excited to launch what season is it? The new season.
This will be season 3.
Yeah, we're excited to launch season 3. Yeah. It's coming up soon. Yeah.
It's good, but the Journey podcast. Yeah, the Journey podcast.
Yes.
So it's available on all platforms, so that.
Yes. Okay, it's available.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Okay. Yeah, since Google is not there anymore.
Yeah, Google is now on YouTube. So
you can also just search our pages, Shalom and Shalom pages, Instagram and Facebook, and you're good.
Yeah. So. Also, Umubanga, thank you for streaming our wedding live for free. Umubanga, literally. Didn't you have an event that day?
You did.
The prayer marathon, right?
Yes. No, thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. You guys don't even understand.
Yeah.
Our friends watched that, eh?
Yes.
They were just like...
all over the world. All over the world, like America and Zambia, all over the world.
I was even asking, did you know that we got married? Yo, I watched it on your page. And I was like, snap.
And you know what's so funny? Hey?
Yeah.
I had no idea the wedding was being streamed live until we were like doing our vows. So the whole time walking down the aisle, whatever, I noticed Umubanga and I was like, wait, has he been here this whole time?
Yeah. No, but really, thank you so much to Umubanga. You absolutely.
Yes.
That's something that
God bless you.
It's something that I really appreciate, is because like it's kind of hard and rare to find people that actually will have your back no matter what. And I think you've really showed it for us. Like that meant a lot to us. You have no idea, because it was like we had the restriction of numbers of people, truly, and people not everyone could come, but people were excited, and we had like a lot of people like saying, hey, you want to come and stuff like that, and we didn't realize how we needed like the service and stuff like that, but you coming through and just like streaming it for us, and it was just like dope. It's still there. You know what I'm saying? It was really, really helpful. So thank you so much, man. Absolutely love you, man. And just say what you need, man. What do you need? What do we need?
I'll give you the list.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah. Awesome. This has been a great conversation, and I'm happy to just be able to talk to you guys. Like, our aim for the podcast is to inform, transform, as well as inspire. We, people create excuses to say we can't find the right content.
Right.
So we have to create the right content in which they can be able to just consume and find the right spaces in which they can be transformed into the form of godliness, which we want to be. So,
Bless. God bless you. Thank you for creating this platform and space.
True.
I've seen some phenomenal people that have walked through these doors, or who you followed where they are, to do the recording.
Yeah.
So may God bless you for just being the light of the world.
You should better be subscribing to this.
Subscribe. What do they point? The content creators point. Subscribe here. Watch my latest video
Somewhere
here.
there.
Like point.
There's a link.
There's a link.
Yeah.
But
Awesome. Looking forward to the next year's year.
Hey.
Happy 1 year.
Let's go.
You'll be able to hear it.
Soon we'll be coming on here with like our little munchkins and episode featuring the kids. Hopefully we'll be able to talk if they don't like take over the show.
Listen.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you have enjoyed this conversation. Remember to follow Shalom and Shalom on Facebook, across all platforms.
Yes.
So listen to their podcast on Apple Music as well as Spotify, and be encouraged, be informed, be transformed into God's love, into God's word, and just enjoy, bask in the love, enjoy your love. If you're going to date properly.
Yes.
Date with the fear of God. Jesus at the center of it all.
Amen.
From me and Shalom, we say
Peace.
bye-bye.
Later.
Awesome.